System restored.
Agents, welcome back. This is Dwerewolf Gaming, and today we're diving into the STREGA Assault Rifle, an old favorite weapon of mine. In today's gameplay, we're forming exotic components, doing the expertise surge, so most of the gameplay, all the gameplay will be on heroic content. And as of right now, you got about 4 days left to take advantage of obtaining those double materials. With that being said, today's build is very squishy as well, and it fits my playstyle. I like playing a variety of different builds, so just keep that in mind. But now let's break down this build. I am running the Obliterate talent on my chest, so we will be stacking a little bit, and each critical hit adds more weapon damage. Plus, with the STREGA, marking enemies boosts your amplified damage. You can mark up to 5 enemies, and each marked enemy can give you up to 15% increase in amplified damage. So in total, you can get up to 75% increase in amplified damage when using this weapon. Now, for those that are newer agents to this game, amplified damage is a multiplier on top of your total damage, marking each shot hits much harder than normal damage boosts. So with this setup, you'll be stacking and amplifying damage simultaneously. If you're new here, like, share, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you can stay informed whenever I do drop videos. Now let's get into the build and show you how this thing shreds. So agents, to start the show will be the STREGA Assault Rifle. This gun is a beast, and you can obtain it in the general loot pool. Just make sure you set your target loot to assault rifles. And in certain areas in the game, such as the summit, the retaliations, or even the countdown, you can set your target loot to form for this weapon. I do recommend you roll that third attribute to damage the target out of cover, but always use whichever attribute works best for you. The talent is what truly shines on this gun. It's called Unnerve. Killing an enemy will apply a mark on every enemy within 20 meters of it. Multiple marks can be applied to the same enemy. The max number of marks that can be applied to an enemy is 5. All marks on an enemy will disappear after 10 seconds, and after the last one has been applied, you deal plus 15% amplified damage per marked enemy. So essentially, you can get up to 75% marked amplified damage, and that's even on the boss as well. So that is a lot of amplified damage that you can get with this weapon. The mods you cannot change. That is 5% critical hit damage, plus 20 rounds, plus 10% weapon handling, and a 5% critical hit chance mod as well. For our secondary weapon, we were using the Thorn shotgun. I enjoyed this weapon. I did prototype it. It is a level 1. The augment we do have on this is automatized, and basically this increases grenade radius and damage by 12.5%. I do plan to re-roll this augment at some point, but overall this gun is a beast because of how much damage it can do. As far as the core attribute, it is 15% shotgun damage, 17% damage to armor, and 10% damage to target out of cover. Weapon handling on this gun is horrible, but we were primarily focusing on the talent the most on this gun, and that talent is called Perfect Brazen, and you receive plus 3.5% amplified damage on the next shot with the weapon for each pellet that hits the target, if at least 4 pellets hit. And the mod we do have on this gun is the tubular magazine slot, mod, which basically you get 20% increase in magazine reload speed actually. For our sidearm, we are using the quick step pistol primarily for the talent, and because I don't really use my pistol too much, and that talent is called sport mode. You will get 20% increase in movement speed bonus, but it does not stack with other movement speed bonuses. For our mask, we do have on one piece of the STREGA brand set, which is giving us 8% increase in critical hit chance. For the augment, we have Specialization, which provides a 5% chance of reducing skill cooldowns by 0.2 seconds for each bullet hit. So we got a 5% cooldown reduction chance. Keep in mind I do plan to re-roll this as well to try to get maybe a amalgam or even echo on this mask. As far as our core attribute, we do have a 20.2% weapon damage with a 7.6% critical hit chance, a 13.9% critical hit damage, and a 12% critical hit damage attribute. For the chest, we are utilizing the Equalizer chest, which is a part of the Unit Alloys brand set. We do have on 3 pieces, which is giving us 5% increase in rate of fire, 20% increase in assault rifle damage, and plus 50% increase in magazine size. The augment we do have on this, because it is prototype, is the amalgam augment, which every bullet has a 2.5% chance to apply a random status effect. Does have a cooldown of 5 seconds, and again, this is augment level 4. For the core attribute, we do have 15% weapon damage, 9% critical hit chance attribute, and 12% critical hit damage attributes. The talent that comes on his chest is called Perfect Obliterate, and critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds. This stacks up to 24 times, so you make sure you got a lot of critical hit chance on your build to take fully advantage of this talent. The cap on critical hit chance is 60%. For the holster, it is the Salvo holster, which is the second part of the Unit Alloys brand set. This is prototype as well. And for the augment, we do have Paradox. This provides a 2% chance of refilling your magazine by 100 for each bullet fired. As far as the core attribute, we have weapon damage of 15% with a 7.5% increase in rate of fire. We do have the Fox Sprayer. This is prototype as well. This is level 1, and this is a part of the Overlord Armaments brand set, which is giving us 10% increase in rifle damage. Keep in mind, we were not wearing this for that rifle damage. The augment we do have on it is Echo, actually, and every bullet fired has a 1.2% chance to deal its damage twice. Core attribute, we do have a 15% weapon damage core, and the attribute that it did max out for me is that 12% damage to target out of cover. The normal version comes with 8% damage to target out of cover, and we do have a 6% critical hit chance attribute on these knees. For the gloves, we are wearing the Overdog Exotic gloves. The theme of this build is amplified damage, so this fits perfectly in this build. For the core attribute, we do have a weapon damage core of 15%. We have a 6% critical hit chance and a 12% critical hit damage attribute on these gloves. The talent is what truly shines on his gloves. It's called Weakest Link. This amplifies weapon damage by 30% to the lowest ranking enemies currently in combat according to the tier hierarchy. So you basically want to start at tier 3 and work your way up, agents, and just keep in mind there'll be so much going on in the gameplay. A lot of times I just shoot, and at some point you will be getting that 30% increase in amplified damage. So with this build, when you have that as proc, keep in mind you can get up to 75% increase in amplified damage with the STREGA Assault Rifle and 30 with this. So you can get up to 105% increase in amplified damage when you do have life fully stacked. Now if you don't have the gloves, agents, just use any other gloves of your choice, such as you can use the Unit Alloys or even the Infinite Armor's gloves to get 5% increase in more weapon damage. And of course you'll be able to change out and using another exotic piece in its place when you don't have the Overdog Exotic gloves. But you can attain the Overdog Exotic gloves in the general loot pool as well. Just target for gloves. Now you can easily just wear the exotic mask, the Coyote's exotic mask, and like I said, you can go with the Seska gloves if you wanted to, so you can still have that high crit chance, or even the Grupo Sombro gloves as well if you don't need as much critical hit chance on your build, and that will give you more critical hit damage. So those are some other alternatives, again, if you don't have the Overdog Exotic gloves, or for those who have an issue with using the Overdog Exotic gloves, that is another alternative as well. Now the Coyote's mask, again, you can obtain this in the general loot pool. It comes with mostly weapon attributes, so you get 15% weapon damage with, and I do have 6% critical hit chance attributes and a 12% critical hit damage. The talent on this mask is called Pack Instincts, and you deal damage based on the distance you are away from the enemies that you're shooting at. So from 0 to 15, you get 25% increase in critical hit damage. 15 to 25, you get 10% critical hit chance and 10% critical hit damage. And 25 meters plus, you get 25% critical hit chance. For the backpack, this is a third piece of the Unit Alloys brand set. So we do have the core attribute being a weapon damage core, and the attributes we do have on this 12% critical hit damage and a 6% critical hit chance. The talent I did decide to use today is Vigilance. This increases total weapon damage by 25%. Taking damage disables this buff for 4 seconds. But if you don't want to use it, there are other great alternatives. For example, if you wanted more survivability, I would go with the Bloodsucker talent, because killing an enemy has a stack of 10% bonus armor for 10 seconds. The max stack is 10, so you get a 100% increase in bonus armor. This is great, adds more survivability, and you will still be doing massive damage with this build. Leadership talent as well. Performing a cover-to-cover move grants 15% of your armor as bonus armor to you and your allies. This does have a 10-second cooldown, and that bonus is double if you stop within 10 meters of an enemy. The Unstoppable Force is another great talent because killing an enemy increases total weapon damage by 5% for 15 seconds. This stacks up to 5 times to get up 25% increase in bonus weapon damage. Each kill does refresh the talent, and if you take damage, you don't lose the buff, so there's another great alternative. Also, Companion will work great as well because while you're within 5 meters of an ally or in skill, your total weapon damage is increased by 15%, so you have constant damage. I was using my drone some, so that would have been 15% increase in damage at all time. And also Composure would have fit great in this build because while you're in cover you gain 15% increase in weapon damage as well. And with this build, since it's squishy, you will be in cover a lot. Finally, to get more survivability, you can just go to Adrenaline Rush as well. Whenever you're within 10 meters of an enemy, you gain 20% bonus armor for 5 seconds. This stacks up to 3 times, so that's 60% increase in bonus armor. This does have a cooldown of 5 seconds. So ultimately, just play the build however, whichever way works best for you. These are always just templates and always use whichever works best for you. Finally, with this build, we had no modifiers on, seasonal or global modifiers whatsoever. Now, as far as the skills, we were using the Striker Drone some and even the Crocheted Shield. The Striker Drone is great for drawing aggro and also deals a little bit of damage as well. And of course, with this build, you do want to make sure you have the Reviver Hive equipped, just in case you go down, you got a second chance to get back up. Because like I stated earlier, this build is very squishy. I play a variety of different builds, so overall I enjoy it. If you're new to this game, you might want to play with the shield, or change the build up to give yourself a little bit more armor. Again, we had no global or seasonal modifiers active whatsoever. Wanted to show you gameplay to show you that this build works. This gun is a beast, and it even works great in legendary. But I'm currently farming for exotic components, so I wanted to show you gameplay with that. Let's take a look at our stats. We have 2.5% status effect chance, 2% magazine refill chance, 1.2% double damage chance, and a 5% cooldown reduction chance. Alright, let's take a look at our weapon damage with the STREGA Assault Rifle is 164,406 weapon damage. We do have a 60% critical hit chance, which is the cap, and we have 135.9% critical hit damage with 75% headshot damage. You can easily swap out this weapon for the Caduceus Assault Rifle, and the build hits just as hard. I have tested it out because this build has a high crit chance, so I do want to point that out. Or any other assault rifle of your choice, such as the Eagle Bearer is another great choice as well. Or like I said, or even the St. Elsmo's Engine Assault Rifle. Now, let's take a look at our weapon stats with our Thorn shotgun, just to show you the amount of damage we're doing with the Thorn shotgun. As you can see with our base, we got a weapon damage of 1,791,456 weapon damage. Critical hit chance was 58.6% with 130.9% critical hit damage. Keep in mind, this gear I do have on prototype gear, but this build works without prototype because I've shown you this build before without any prototype gear. And in the previous video, I was using the Group Ensemble for the mask instead of the Seska mask. So this build works. Without anything being prototype. Armor in this build, again, very squishy. 874,744 armor. We do have 87,414 armor back on kill. This build has 0 armor regeneration, so you do want to remain in cover. Or if you take damage, get the cover very quickly because 1 or 2 shots and they will take you out. Let's take a look at our class specialization. With this build, I decided to go with the gunner class specialization, primarily for those passives. Basically, every third reload is 50% faster, which is great because, faster reload. As far as our armor kit, it does repair 100% of your armor and grants 30% bonus armor for 10 seconds. That's great. They give you enough time to get the cover. And you passively get killing enemies grants 10% armor back on the kill. And this is the only class specialization where you will have access to the Banshee Pulse, which launches a Fort Art of Pulse energy that disorients enemies caught in the wave. And it also penetrates through cover as well, so those enemies are hiding, get them out of cover. Now you get the supply line talent, which generates 10% of your total ammo capacity every 60 seconds, and party members will recover 5% of theirs. You get the barrage talent, which your rate of fire is increased by 5% on a kill for 5 seconds. You also get the emplacement talent, which whenever you remain still for at least 1 second, you will get 10% increase in weapon handling, which is great because it covers a lot in boosting up your overall weapon performance. And if you're new or you just don't know, weapon handling affects a variety of different things in this game when it comes to your weapon. Basically, that's accuracy, stability, reload time, and even weapon swap speed. So overall, anytime you can get more weapon handling in your build, I do recommend it because reload time can be time to kill or can, help save your life if you can reload your gun a lot faster and take that enemy out. Don't forget to equip the correct weapon element to get your 15% increase in weapon damage. I did not have the shotgun equipped because a lot of times shotguns do so much damage. You really don't have to worry about that. Just make sure you have your assault rifle equipped, so that way you can get your 15% increase in assault rifle damage, because it will improve your time to kill. Keep in mind, with this build, all my gear is fully maxed out, agents. Whenever I show you these builds, I want to show you their full potential, which is now is the time to take advantage of the expertise surge that is currently taking place. You can get your gear and item to expertise level 30. Alright, some other class specializations that would have worked great is the firewall, because you will have access to the striker's shield, which will boost up the damage you're doing to those enemies that are in front of the shield. So that's amazing as well. And also some of the passives. For example, when you armor break, you will apply the fire status effect to those enemies. So that's a crowd control effect. And also enemy allies that are within 10 meters, or you will do more damage to those enemies. So overall, just a great setup in my opinion. Always use whichever class specialization work best for you. And don't forget, agents, this build will work great even if we did not use the perfect Obliterate talent, because I've used this build before. You can even go with a non-stacking build with this build because it hits so hard. Overall, you can use something like Blast Cannon, and this build will do massive damage. As always, appreciate each and every one of you for your valued time and continued support, and those who take time to comment. It really does mean a lot. Alright, agents, stay strong, stay sharp. Dwerewolf gaming out.
Needed. System reactivated. Agent malfunction. Enemy on flank! Backup power activated. Launch sequence initiated. System curtailed. Reload weapon. System back online.
The antiviral cylinders are secure. We'll make sure they get safely extracted.